His bizarre explanation for why people make up stories about him sexually assaulting them is they do it to get attention. That's not bizarre at all. At all. Ironically, these desperate women seeking fame by slandering Vic do so anonymously, negating whatever 15 minutes of fame Vic believes his name guarantees. No, fame and attention are two different things, you dummy. Ass pats on Twitter are not fame. And they actually can be. Just because your Twitter account is not your name, LJ Montello being Jennifer Lynn Hunt, just because your Twitter account is not your name doesn't mean that the attention you gain from it isn't valuable, and it doesn't mean that the attention that you get from it isn't sought. I mean, is there something about anything that you've done over the past 20 years in the voice acting community that would lend credence to people thinking that maybe you were a sexual assaulter? No. There are an awful lot of fans out there who are really desperate for attention, and they often like to talk about people to get it. If you don't think that a woman will say that Tom Cruise, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine, Chris Evans, all these Chris's, that they had sex with them, if you don't think they will say that just to have a story, you're ludicrously stupid.
Well, once again, it would appear that the screeching on Twitter continues as those that stand against Vic Mignogna not only go as far as to blame Vic and his fans for basically this entire thing getting blown to hell, but we also have members within the Twitter community that are going as far as to blame people that do support Vic Mignogna in demonizing them, in believing that they are the absolute worst of the worst in being disgusting people, but not only that, going as far as to shame other voice actors that do stand with Vic Mignogna in this case. As once more before we begin, if you are new to this channel and want to be kept up to date with all things involving Vic Mignogna, Monica Rial, Ron Toye, and many of the news and updates involving the Vic Mignogna case, then be sure to go on ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to never miss a single upload. Be sure to go on ahead and slap a like down below by giving this video a big thumbs up if you guys do stand with Vic, as well as making sure to check out and subscribe to my main channel over at UnrealNetwork Gaming, and follow me at Twitter at UnrealNetwork Gaming to stay connected with me at all times. And if you have anything you would like to share or tag me in involving Vic Mignogna or any of the parties involved in this case, then be sure to go on ahead and follow me at Twitter. As I do want to go on ahead and kick things off here today with Therese27 over on Twitter, who went along to shame Chuck Huber for coming out in quote intimidating Monica Rial and said individuals based on his comments, as Therese went on to state, and I quote, "Shame on Chuck Huber for trying to intimidate Monica Rial and Jamie Marchi into recanting their public statements. Without those statements, Vic would have never been accountable for literal decades of predation. We owe them so much for speaking out and sticking to their guns." Sticking to their guns? Maybe. Owing them so much for telling lies? Not so much, Therese. And in case you guys don't know, Therese27 is a huge advocate of Monica Rial, Ron Toye, Jamie Marchi, and all of those that stand against Vic, and you know what? That's completely fine. She's entitled to her stance, even if it is wrong. However, what I find to be very fascinating is she tends to block anybody that challenges her opinion and or her stance on why she supports Monica Rial as opposed to standing with Vic Mignogna. And I find that to be very ironic, considering the fact that Therese wants to go on ahead and demonize Vic Mignogna. She wants to paint Vic out in almost being like the absolute worst person in the world, to where she has on her Twitter and on her personal Reddit, which I do encourage everyone to leave because she runs one of the biggest Dragon Ball Reddits on the internet, and guess what? She polices everything on there, and if you go along to post anything Vic Mignogna related, anything YouTuber like related, she deletes. She wants to keep this little echo chamber to herself, to where all she cares about are narratives that suit her own stance, which I find to be ironic because the minute Chuck Huber decides to kind of back Vic Mignogna here, all of a sudden you want to point the finger and saying shame on you. Why? Why shame on Chuck Huber? Because he has the free will to go against your stance? Because he has the free will to choose a different opinion? So you want to try to publicly shame the guy for quote intimidation, which Chuck Huber never intimidated anybody, all because you got in your fifis and you got emotional and you can't stand the sight of seeing other voice actors, other influencers, other people stand with the opposite side in which you are standing in, and that makes you a complete and utter coward. And do you want to know why that makes you a coward? Because you're not woman enough to stand at the front line of adversity in accepting criticism for your own intellectual stance. But instead, the moment your intellectual stance is challenged, instead of acknowledging and accepting criticism, what you tend to do is block. Now, Therese, I ask you, why shame Chuck Huber? Why are you going to paint this narrative out now that Chuck Huber, based on your comments now, is a bad guy, all because he stands on the other side? Very interesting, Therese, and I bet you won't answer this question because you tend to block a lot of people. As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, she has blocked a lot of Dragon Ball YouTubers as well. Many people. And do you want to know why? For simply challenging her intellectual stance. When taking your own subjective bias and putting that into question, she doesn't want that. She doesn't want when people question her on anything. So what she tends to do is block you, and that's the end of that, which she's entitled to, but that still makes her a coward now, doesn't it? So again, my initial question is, what is wrong with Chuck Huber standing on the opposite side of the fence? If he wants to defend Vic Mignogna, he has his reasons, and that's fine. If Chuck Huber wants to defend Monica Rial and Jamie Marchi, guess what? He has his reasons, and that's fine. But why is it the minute someone stands on the other side, you want to point the finger and try to shame them? That's not really fair now, is it? Just like how it's not fair for Kara Edwards to come out and having to selectively state that she was seductively forced in tango dancing with Vic Mignogna, as according to her post. Meanwhile, all of a sudden, we have video evidence of Kara walking on over and dancing with Vic on her own free will. Let's go on ahead and check that out again, shall we?
Yeah!
Are you guys now beginning to see what's going on here? But it doesn't end there, because we have Jessie Pridemore. Yes, Jessie Pridemore had come out on Twitter now to make some comments of her own, as she went on to post, and I quote, "The amount of Vic stans defending his behavior is disgusting. Holy shit. I will never understand putting someone on such a high pedestal that you will break your back into gaslighting the victims and make up, quote, new rules by which society works to defend these creeps." Okay, these creeps, where are the police reports? Where are the indictments? Where are the registrations that Vic is a, quote, sex offender, or even a pedo for that matter? You dummy, don't you think that if we had actual police reports, don't you think if Vic was registered himself and found guilty on all charges that more people would be standing with Ron, Monica, Jamie, and said individuals rather than siding with him? You idiots, what do you have as irrefutable factual evidence to support this narrative? Oh, that's right, Twitter stories and selective subjective blogs on internet sites that have little to no credibility, in which suit one narrative instead of covering the pragmatics objectively. You are the literal definition of a pseudo-intellectual, because anyone that has a full functioning brain and is cognitive of reality rather than living in fantasy will automatically tell you that it's innocent before being proven guilty, because you need irrefutable factual evidence to support someone being guilty. It's not guilty before being proven innocent, you idiots. Which, on top of all of that, aren't you the same person that was exposed in fabricating the Todd Haberkorn story? You know, the same person that's going to be taking you to court for defamation and slander? So what would then drive you to accuse everyone in being Vic stans and being disgusted that there's a second opinion? Why are people like you always in your fifis and looking down on those that tend to challenge your intellectual stance? It's like politics. Anytime politics is involved, you're bound to have an argument with someone based on their own intellectual subjective stance. Whereas here, she finds it very disgusting that you people watching this video and the people that support Vic do support Vic in this case and are funding him in his GoFundMe and personally stand with the guy in the fact that you believe in your heart of hearts that he's innocent of these said allegations. She thinks that's disgusting because you aren't standing on her side of the fence where people tend to lie, misconstrue and fabricate their statements alongside fumbling their stories, and also retracting certain statements after making them public. Very interesting there. Which this whole argument, this whole case would be so different if there was actual solid proof, not Twitter stories, not having to withhold information for 10, 20 years. If there was solid information and if there was solid evidence of Vic being guilty, every single person would stand on your side, because guess what? Us normal people, we do want creeps being put away because we have mothers, sisters, girlfriends, nieces, friends that wouldn't want to be put in danger in situations like that. And if there's irrefutable factual evidence to support that someone is doing something so wrong, as based on all of the allegations that people are throwing on Vic and being a pedo, being an assaulter, being a predator, all these things, we want these people put away, but we don't want them be put away for all of the wrong reasons. How many people were accused of this by women or by other individuals that were proven to be innocent through the court of law, either as the case was ongoing or many years after when it was too late? It's not right to do. Which by the end of it, I want to get everyone's thoughts in the comment section below, as we are going to close this video off with a highlight clip from Nick Rekieta's live stream, which basically talks about the affidavits and many other things about the case right now. So again, if you guys are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications to never miss a single video. If you guys do stand with Vic, slap a big fat like down below. I'm not going to BS you guys. If there's anything I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you proof on screen. So again, thank you all so much for backing this channel. Thank you all so much for supporting myself. Thank you all so much for your kind expressions. Of course, if you guys are not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter at UnrealNetwork. Link will be located down below, and my main channel at UnrealNetwork. Again, link to that will be located down below. And with all that having to be said, I leave you guys with Nick's highlights. Without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into it. Take it easy, guys.
Out of fear for herself and her career, Miss Rial chose to remain silent until it became clear that plaintiff had no intention of curbing his predatory behavior. Sure it did. Sure, that's when it happened. Plaintiff tries to force himself on Kara Edwards. Plaintiff's assault of Miss Rial is similar to plaintiff's attempt to have sex with voice actor Kara Edwards in 2008 and then again in 2010 at the SJWs convention in Tampa, Florida. This is probably her affidavit. Open the door. Nobody has to know. Come on, Kara. Nobody has to know. You know you want this. Let me be sweet to you. Plaintiff harassed and intimidated Miss Edwards, ignoring her resistance and his own pre-existing relationship in hopes of pressuring another woman into compromising herself for his pleasure. Wow. Plaintiff again attempted to corner a vulnerable woman in a secluded place. I don't know that any of this happened, but let's just suggest that propositioning a woman for sex, even when you're in a relationship, and shockingly, even when she might be in a relationship, is not illegal. And you may not like it, but it's not against any rule anywhere, and it certainly is not sexual assault or harassment. It's just not. I'm sorry that it's not. Now, pressuring, what was the pressure? Was there a threat of violence? Did he prevent her from leaving? Did she say no and he somehow forced himself upon her? Don't know, haven't read her affidavit yet. I'm gonna guess what's not in there. Miss Edwards felt threatened. Did she communicate that threat and that her career would suffer by rejecting his advances? Nevertheless, she resisted his aggressive attempts to bed her. And the following day, plaintiff exacted his petty revenge on Miss Edwards by interfering with her pre-scheduled autograph signing. Oh, that'll be interesting. Miss Edwards disclosed plaintiff actions to Mary Reese on the following day. Well, where's Mary Reese? Miss Edwards has since attempted to avoid working on projects with plaintiff and has declined to attend conventions when plaintiff attends. Plaintiff has a decade Plaintiff has a decade of admitted infidelity and consensual sexual activity in the anime industry. Consensual is in quotes. Why would consensual be in quotes? To the outer world, plaintiff represents that he was in a committed relationship with voice actress Michelle Specht, which ran from 2006 to 2018. Not only did they live together, they were engaged in 2010. During this time, plaintiff assaulted Miss Rial, conclusory, tried to have sex with Miss Edwards on 2 separate occasions, not illegal and not sexual assault, solicited sex from a prostitute. Actually, he denied that in his motion to dismiss. He said it was before he was engaged. Tried to have sex with 2 women, and notice there's no footnote there. Tried to have sex with 2 women related by birth at the same time during a convention, also not illegal. Had at least 1 ongoing sexual relationship while engaged to Miss Specht. Again, what does this have to do with him being a predator or assaulting people? And made mistakes during the engagement with Miss Specht, somewhere between 5 and 50 times. Oh my God. Yes. By the way, an argument with a fiance could be a mistake. Not picking up milk from the store could be a mistake. All sorts of things are a mistake.